Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about simplifying response to intervention and start getting us prepared for our January session with Mike Matos, which is entitled When All Means All, and he focuses on RTI or response to intervention. We'll also be working a lot with this during our curriculum focus meetings in January as well. And so this is kind of to prepare you and get us all on the same page going in so we can continue to do great things for our students here at CTHS. So the first thing that I'll need you to do is pause this video and go ahead and take the poll anywhere that is on the bottom of the slide. And this is an anonymous poll about the campus culture and climate. So just answer as truthfully as possible. And once you guys have completed that and looked at the results, then you'll be ready to start the video again. Okay, so Mike Matos and his team talk a lot about third base students and what it means to be a third base student. So some kids can just step up to the plate and hit a triple, or they just need help getting home. Other kids will need help every step of the way. So from first base to second to third, maybe back to second, maybe back to first. So the question is, what kind of students do you have? And how do we help our students who aren't third base kids? For our kids that need more support and more intervention, how are we there to help them? And what systems are in place to make sure that every child gets what they need every day? This is where RTI comes in, and this is kind of a simplified pyramid, and we'll go over this more in our PLCs and also with Mike Matos in January and during our curriculum focus. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview to start. So Tier 1 is what all kids get. So what do we offer? We have Reboot, we have PI, we have Extended Day, and we also have the guaranteed and viable curriculum that all of our English students get. So Tier 1 is the baseline of instruction, and that's what every student's going to get. So for our students that don't get it, they'll need Tier 2 additional support. So that's going to come in accommodations. That's going to come with something like the attendance watch list or pre-AP and AP classes. So what are we lacking? Well, some of us are still working on identifying power standards and learning targets. Most of us are definitely still working on learning targets, even if we started with power standards. We're going to be working on this a lot in January at our focus meetings. And this is essential because we really want to make sure that we know exactly what the most important things that kids need to know so we can start identifying intervention by standard. So we'll have to know that the Tier 1 instruction is strong and is viable to be able to make Tier 2 and Tier 3 work. We're also lacking some targeted intervention during Reboot. So the good thing that we have a lot of great things going for us at CTHS, but one of the great things we have that many other campuses don't is that we already have time carved out of our schedule with PI and Reboot to have that in-school intervention. So what we're missing is targeting students by standard. So something that got repeated a lot at RTI is by student by standard. So it's not that, oh, you have a 30% in your class, so you have to go to Reboot that day. Yes, makeup work is important, and some of that stuff is more will stuff, like do they have the will to do it, as opposed to skill stuff, which is what specific standard are you struggling on. So we really want to make sure that we are focusing on individual standards and individual students. So that's going to come through the Tier 2 additional support. Okay, so let's take a moment and watch this video with Mike Matos. He is going to be explaining the why of RTI. So he focuses a lot on not just finding another thing to check off your list, but really finding ways that we can make serious and long-lasting improvements for our students.
RTI is not a new way to qualify kids for special ed, and it's not an elementary reading program. And I see that all over the country right now. It's a new way to qualify kids for special ed. No, it's not. The RTI research didn't even start around special needs kids. Do you want to know where the RTI research started from? People asking a question. The question was, what do we got to do to make sure every kid succeeds in school? That's where the research came from. This isn't a special ed law. It's an every kid law. It's about providing kids what morally they deserve. That's what we're talking about here. And how do we do it? Well, we're going to talk about that next. But before we go forward, I want to ask you two questions. Number one, we've spent almost an hour together now. I have tried to share a compelling case with you of why what we're doing in the past is wrong and why we got to do some things differently today. I want to ask you, have I given you enough compelling reasons to be willing to listen to the next 3 days? You see, if you don't see a compelling reason to change, why would you care about how to change? And I'm fearful across America that right now what we're doing to most teachers is this. We're telling them what to do and how to do RTI, but we're not talking about why. And if teachers don't understand why, they shouldn't care about the what. And you as participants as we learn, if you don't understand the why of RTI, why would you care about the what? You'll be doing it just because it's a federal mandate, and that's compliance. And trust me, you will fail because you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Okay, so that gives us a pretty good overview of the why of RTI. And I think he makes a great point that we have to understand, and I think most of us do, that every student is not getting what they need every single day. That's impossible. You have over 100 kids on your class load, each and every one of you, and there's just too many kids for you to do that by yourself. So that's when the PLC work really, really comes into play and where RTI is going to help us to meet every kid's needs because traditional school really was not set up to meet the needs of every kid. And most of us were probably third base kids, so we didn't need a ton of additional support. Well, some of our kids need a ton of additional support, and we really don't want to be waiting until the last minute like we see with so many of our seniors, that they really do not have the skills to go out into the workforce, to have continuing education, or to go to college. Okay, so that leads us to a discussion about Pi and Reboot. And again, we're going to be getting into a lot more of the why of RTI when Mr. Matos is here in January, and we'll keep working on it. But I just kind of wanted to prime the pump a little bit and have you guys be discussing some options that we have. So right now we do have Pi and Reboot, and a lot of schools that we went to the RTI conference with were just trying to figure out that first step of how to make sure that there was time within the school day to do intervention. Well, we have that time, but we just need to put some more boundaries and set some more expectations of what we actually want Pi and Reboot to look like. So how can we use this time to ensure all kids learn at high levels? So Pi Time, Mr. Fleming will be talking to you guys more about in January. But Pi Time, we really, in his vision and our vision, we really want to be using for a variety of things and really using that as intervention and enrichment. So through silent sustained reading, AVID, TSI, PSAT studying, and study skills, just figuring out how to divide that time and make it more purposeful. What we've really been focusing on is Reboot. So Reboot already has a great structure to it that Ms. McCoy has started with signing up for tutorials. Now we're just going to take that structure and make it for targeted intervention. And so it's not going to just be student choice anymore. So you can assign a child to come to Reboot if they need a specific skill. So for example, if you see that um, if you see that Gabby has really struggled on 8A, and she's having a really, really difficult time with a standard 8A, then she would come in for intervention that day that you assign her where you're going through 8A during reboot. So it is the teacher choice, and you still will have her, she'll still have some choices throughout the week, but at some point in that week, she will have to come in and see you and get targeted intervention for that skill. So we're not trying to make up for it for the rest of the year because that's one of those power standards that you really cannot live without. So reboot is really more of a skill time as opposed to a will time, not just, hey, I don't want to do it and no, I'm not going to do it behavior issues, but really focusing on learning standards. Now remember that most of our resources in this work is just not going to be an extra prep. This is going to be coming during our PLCs when we're answering that fourth question of what will we do when students don't get it? Okay, so During that time, that's when we're going to be talking about resources for intervention. This will not be a new prep on any level. This is just going to be reutilizing or repurposing our time. You're going to have a lot of support throughout the way from me as we work through our PLCs, and this is going to be data-driven instruction, especially after we do some more work identifying our power standards at Focus in January. So I really look forward to working on this with you guys. This has become really a passion project for many of us on campus, and we're really, really excited to get kids some more support that they need. And we're already doing such a great job here at CTHS, and we want to keep that going. So with that in mind, we'd also like to remind you that you can nominate kids for the Principals Award. So this is a great time to sit back and go ahead and do that. Please nominate 2 students, one girl and one boy at your CTHS web account. We really want to recognize our kids for all the amazing things that they're doing and all the amazing gifts that they have. Thank you guys so much. I'm sorry to miss you at the meeting today, but I hope that you looked at my picture on the slide and you felt like I was right there with you.